Hello, my name is Aladiana Lakpo, and I am going to talk about the chapters 4, 5, and 6 that we had as an assignment to read for the speech class for Mr. Robinson at North Carolina Central University. Chapter 4 talked about verbal communication. It illustrated the languages that we have, and it talked about grammar and words and sounds and how every time we hear it, it's very different because of the different cultures and the different meanings that come with it. We talked about symbols, how it stands for objects and concepts, and sounds that provide sound. When we hear sounds, what we hear exactly, how we interpret it to what we hear from people. And chapter 5 talked about nonverbal communication, which talked about the facial expressions that we make, the slight gestures that we do, how we are more comfortable with one person than we are with another. It illustrated on perception because when we talk to somebody, it's different than when we're talking to a stranger and how we communicate with them with our nonverbal communication, because a hand gesture to one person can mean something completely different to somebody else that we know, or a smile, or the way we see each other. Because like my mother, if I was to be mad or upset and I have this facial expression, she would know when I'm mad. And she'd question me about it, and if I didn't say anything, then she'd keep questioning me until I answered her questions. And chapter 6, we talked about communication process of thinking, how our thoughts are derived, how what we do and how we do things, it illustrates and speaks about how we think. There was a page that talked about the Hartfield cognitive model, which showed and talked about the hearing and understanding and responding, because the chapter, it listed on about the difference between listening and hearing. You hear a sound. Are you really listening to it, or are you hearing it? When I read my books, when I'm trying to study for things, I always have music playing in the background. And in the chapter, it talked about whether or not we're actually listening to the sounds from the music or if we're hearing it. Because hearing is a psychological process and listening is cognitive. Hearing, like, we understand things, and it talks about our perception as well, that we talked about in chapter 2. Because when we hear things, we perceive it in different ways than when somebody else next to us was to hear it. Yes, we're hearing the same thing or listening to the same thing, but the way we receive the message and the way we perceive it is very different than the next person. So those are what chapter 4, 5, and 6 talked about, and I hope you enjoy your day.